This is a video on how to set up the Intelliflo pump. Initially, in order to do any programming, the pump is going to turn off. As you can see right here, there's the time, the RPMs, the watts, and the pump is stopped. If this light is off, the pump will not go on ever again until somebody presses this button again. In this case, we're going to hit menu button in order to get to the settings. From here, I could go down to program 1 through 8, which is basically our speeds, external controller, that has to do with anything hooked up to a secondary device, automation features. I'm going to go over that as well. Priming, thermal mode, and back to settings. So initially in settings here, I'm going to hit select. I could go in and hit select again. I could change the date. And then I could change the time. If I want to change any of these things, basically I'm going to hit select, press up or down, and then the save button, which is right here. This is the newest model of the Intelliflo, so some of these may change a little bit. In order to go on to the next thing, press down. I could set military time basically if I want. And then again, back to the date. Then I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go to my schedules or programs. On this one it says programs. If you ever see one that says programs, this is the newest pump. If it says schedules, it is an older pump. So in here I'm going to go ahead and hit select. That's program 1. I could go up and down to any different program I want to go to. In this case I want to go to program 1 and I'm going to go in here. So I hit select. Right here you can go manual, schedule, or egg timer. So that is the options for speeds 1 through 4. In this case, I'm going to keep it as manual because this pump is a standalone pump. It does have a pool and spa with no automation, but I'm going to leave this as manual. Then I can go down. I could change this here to speeds or flow. Most of the time we aren't using flow unless there's a water feature or some other device that needs a certain amount of gallons per minute. And we're just more comfortable with speeds right now. Going down here, now I can change my RPM at any point in time by going up and down and hitting save. And that's basically what speeds 1 through 4 will do. In this case, this homeowner has a standalone pump but wants an option to turn his spa on. So what we did is we created for speed 4 an egg timer. An egg timer is a countdown timer. If you were to press down, you could set that RPM, which is 2800 for a spa, and then you could set it for however many hours you want it set for. So let's say you wanted to clean your pool and you wanted to set it for an hour while you're vacuuming it. You could do that at any one of these speeds that are not taken up by the initial installer. Hit save here. And we're just going to leave that kind of how it is. So I did say that all the other programs 5 through 8 are set up a little bit different. So if I go into here, you see that this one says disabled. Speed 1 through 4, you can't disable them because they're actual active buttons that are on here. The other buttons are over here. 5 through 8, they're behind the scenes. If I want to go into that and I want to schedule it, I could simply hit schedule. And then I'm going to either go flow or RPMs. In this case, I want to go speeds. And I could change it to whatever I want. And save. So for this particular, then also here's how I want to set the actual schedules or the timer that it's going to run. So this one's set from 12 a.m. to 12:01 a.m. So the reason why this wasn't set up is because it's an unneeded speed at this point. And because that is the case, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to disable it. So that's basically what you need to know as far as programming anything on this pump. Where our speeds are standard here at the company is speeds 8, schedule, and this is where our low speed is going to be. So we set them at 1400 RPM. We feel if it's any lower, it's not really doing a whole lot, and this only costs the customer about 1 to 2 cents every single hour it's running. Our standard, again, is to protect it from freezing, is to run it at 2 a.m. We never change this for summer or winter. That way you set it one time and that's it. And we have it running from 7 p.m. So that is program number 8. On program number 7 is where we have our high speeds. 2800 is where we felt like high speed was good enough for this pump, and that's running from 10 to 2 p.m. The pump doesn't need to run for long periods of time on high because it can clean itself within that 4-hour period. So now to go back to a couple other programming ideas. Here you want to go into features, and if you ever wanted to go in and create there's a quick clean button, and there's a timeout button. We almost never set the timeout button, but we do the quick clean button for people who want to maybe clean the pool for an hour or whatever it may be. You can go in and hit select here. You can set that RPM for the higher speed, 2800. Sometimes we set it a little bit higher so that way we could vacuum the pool very quickly. In this case, somebody's already governed it down to 2800, so I can't change that. And then in here, I could go ahead and go to an hour. And then I'm going to hit save, down, and that's basically it for quick clean. Again, there is timeout on there, but I don't really do much with that. On the newer pumps, they have a priming feature on here. Previously, I believe that the priming would be in features, or it would be in settings. But in this case, we always want the priming feature to be enabled, and then you can set actual priming speed if you want to. So it's always best to just have that priming speed to be a little bit lower than the high speed, because there's no point in ramping it up as high as it needs to go. On here, it's up for 11 minutes. That's fine. That's kind of default. Not an issue there. Priming range, basically I forgot exactly what it is, but I think the least amount, or the lower the number is, the less sensitive it is, and the higher the number it is, the more sensitive it is. But we just leave it whatever the standard is. Priming delay, that's in 20 seconds, and we just leave that exactly how it is. Thermal mode, that should be always been enabled. Basically, the pump is going to turn on just to protect itself, and the drive portion of the pump, it will not protect the heater. If the heater freezes before this pump turns on, then you're in trouble. And then 1000 RPM, which is fine. I would definitely set that at a lower speed because you don't want your homeowner calling you and saying, why is the pump running so hard right now? Well, it's cold outside, but we don't want it running at 3450. Let's see here. Here, there's a minimum and a maximum speed. It's very important for the installer to set a maximum speed. Right here, this is the highest the pump would ever go, is 2800. Now, especially on the older pump, if the interface does not look like this, you have to set a maximum speed, because otherwise it primes up to the highest speed, and if it's at 3450, then that filter could blow up. In this case, there's a priming feature on here, and that'll only prime up to 2400, which is what we set it for previously. And that's it.